I'll take charge and I'll let you know when it's time to introduce you, and then we'll get into your life. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And I get lied to by Facebook a lot doing this. So it says a lot of times that we're live and we're not live. So I always have to babysit Zuckerberg here for a second. We really are live. So now I have to go in and make sure that it's public. And we are live and public. And I'm also going to do, right while we're doing this, I can't do it. Okay, we're just going to do the interview. I was going to get creative. Never mind being creative today. Facebook. Hi, it's me, Linda Marcus Smith, comic splotch, the comic spot, where Sinbad came. Yeah, that guy. Jenni Moore is here to compete with Sinbad. Woo! Welcome to the stage today, Jenni Moore. She has a Southern accent. So I'm assuming North Carolina, South Carolina, something like that. Atlanta.
No, ma'am. I was born and raised here in West Texas. I'm actually, because of Corona, living where I grew up in the Lubbock area.
Okay. Lubbock, Texas is so you were born and raised in the Lubbock, Texas area?
Yes, ma'am. I grew up in on a small farm in a town called Acuff, and then later Smyre. So I basically live places nobody's heard of. So I use Lubbock as the closest landmark.
Oh, that's great. Now, is Lubbock a military town?
It used to be. Growing up, we had an Air Force base, but then I believe it was Clinton was closing down all of the. I'm super good at history, by the way, but some president closed down the Air Force base. That's all I know. So,
Good. Okay. Well, it could have been any one of them.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm going to read the intro that you sent me so my people and your people watching this will be able to know what your intro really is formally. So I'm going to read it, and you can pretend to be shy. You can pretend to be embarrassed. I know that, but we all love attention or we wouldn't be comedians. So here I go.
Exactly.
Jenni Moore is a force to be reckoned with in the West Texas comedy scene. At 5 years in the industry, she has established herself not only with her relatable and often savage humor, but also with her ability to draw crowds and bring together entertainers of all genres for shows that delight and entertain. She is the official host of the Crossroads Tour with Texas country artist J.R. McNutt, the director of the improv stand-up show Improvfaction, and the organizer of Standout, Stand-Up and Music, a comedy and music showcase series. This is hard with false teeth, featuring the best and brightest performers on stages across West Texas. I get a breath. Jennifer is. I've been watching way too much of Jiminy Glick.
Oh yes, yes.
Jennifer is also an award-winning comedian with 2 years of awards from West Texas Talent Entertainment for comedic performances and Best Spoken Word Performer for the West Texas Talent Search in 2017. She has specials on Viva Live, TV's BMG Comedy Channel, and the Roku Stand Up Comedy Channel. Oh my gosh, we're talking to royalty today.
Yes.
So her work as director of the comedy wing of Soul Anchor Entertainment, Jennifer is expanding to venues across the state and is consistently bringing shows to new audiences. Take that, people. She has shared the stage with numerous talented individuals, including nationally touring headlines Eric Schwartz, Jose Sardu, Mark Yaffe, Adam Stone, and Raymond Orta. It always sounds like a body part. Her, her biggest influences include OMG, get ready, Carol Burnett, woo, Patton Oswalt, woo, and Bert Kreischer, woo.
Yes.
There we go. And here she is, Jenni Moore. Woo! Welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm more of a host than anything else. So I
Oh
really,
no.
I love your braggy intros. I love them. I want all this braggy stuff because then I can insert some improv.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and I actually started out as an improver before I was a stand-up comedian, and it's kind of improv. Everybody kind of thinks it's this weird little niche thing, but it really helps with stand-up a
It
lot.
it does. It's there's too much black and white thinking going on in comedy. I don't know, maybe it's the mental illness. But anyway, when you can, do improv and stand up at the same time, it's okay. Free yourself from this thinking.
Oh yes, man. Well, and that's the thing with improv fiction. Improv fiction shows, which currently I'm on hiatus since I've relocated, trying to get a new troupe together. But I was doing what the format is some improv games and then a comic doing stand up, and we alternate between. And sometimes we have music on special ones, whatever. I like to mix medias. There's no reason not to in live entertainment.
I'm so proud of you because you don't even know that, but I am from Portland, Oregon. That's all I want to say. That speaks volumes. But in Portland, I would go around trying to get comedy and musician people together to do shows together. And I know how hard it is to get black and white thinkers to merge. So I'm
Well,
proud of you.
thank you. Well, and I mean, okay, this is a fortunate but unfortunate thing, because I actually got to work with the Texas country music artist that I mentioned, J.R. McKnight. He actually started working with me. I had been going to open mics that he was hosting, and then 2 years ago, my dad died,
Sorry.
and oh, thank you. It was it was a good passing, all of that, as good as could be. But through that, he saw that I was working to get through my grief, and so he put me to work. So
Wonderful.
we've been touring together, and it's been a crazy trip comedy wise in general.
Wonderful. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm looking for somebody that wants to take me on the road and not throw me in the trunk with duct tape.
Well, as comics, we get what we get on tour. I mean,
Yes, yes. So let's go back in time to when you were, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, and you started coming up with stuff that made people laugh. Or maybe you didn't, but did you come up with it when you were little?
oh yeah, I guess I did. My parents always talked about just the cute things I'd say and everything like that. And I come from a family where we make fun of everything. We have a million jokes. We always want to be laughing. So.
That's a great environment to come from.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've been doing comedy for 5 years. This is something I came into in adulthood, but it's always been something that I've always knew I was kind of funny. So,
Yes, yes. Okay, so then you were that was happening when you were very young, and then at some point you somewhere between then and now you said, you know what, I'm gonna try improv, and that led you to comedy. Take me from the time that people noticed you were funny, who encouraged you to go on stage. How was it your first time on stage?
okay, well, that's a heck of a story in and of itself. Okay. So, first of all, I was never like the outspoken kid growing up. I was very, very introverted, like hide in the bathroom before class started, introverted. And I mean, so I always knew I was a little funny, but it wasn't until I moved from Lubbock to Midland, Texas. It's about an hour and a half away, very different environment. And more importantly, it was the first time I had moved a significant distance from home. So, I didn't know many people. And to get to know people, I started just kind of going to any meetings that vaguely interested me. And one was a poetry group. And through that, I met the person that ran West Texas Talent and went through and did the improv. And then I forget what year it was, but just a couple of years after I started doing that, a very dear friend of mine died very suddenly in a car accident. And I've always dealt with depression and anxiety. And, when you deal with that chronically, when it's starting to get bad,
Yes,
and I knew,
absolutely.
yes. And so I knew it was starting to get bad.
Mhm.
And a friend of mine had suggested at one point that I try stand up. They were like, oh, you're funny, you should try it. So it was actually me writing my first set, was me dealing with that grief, working through that grief by just once again getting busy. And so I wrote it, and I went to this this bar in the mall in Odessa, Texas. And if you know anything of Texas, Odessa is the most dangerous city in the state of Texas, just statistically. And that's where I came up in comedy. And that very first open mic, I mean, it was terrifying. I mean, anybody I tell, they should try stand up, I'm like, it's going to be scary, but it's the biggest confidence booster you're ever going to get, because it's just you, the mic, and your words. And I mean, I got up there and I got through my set, but more importantly, the minute I stepped on there, I felt like I was home. I mean, I didn't want to do anything else. I love comedy. It's the one thing that's always stuck. So,
That's
so that's
amazing.
my story. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So, when you got on stage the very first time, did I miss that? I don't think you said that about the experience the very first time. How afraid were you before? How much practice did it take? How did it go?
I was received pretty well. And yes, I was very, very scared. It's weird though with me and stage fright. I've always been very introverted, but I love being on a stage. I love being in front of an audience. I just don't like being among the audience. And so, I was real nervous waiting. And then once I got up there, I started talking, and it's kind of like it turns into rocket fuel when you're that nervous. And I mean, I probably talked 90 miles an hour, but I mean, I guess a few punchlines got through. And yeah, I delivered it. And I mean, I got some applause, stuff like that. So, and the important thing was I came back the next week. So to do it
Yes.
again.
Yes.
So,
So, have there been periods in your life where you said, enough is enough? I'm going to step away and I don't know if I'm ever coming back?
oh, that's a Tuesday for me.
That's,
I
thank
mean,
you
I
for
think,
that.
yes, I mean, I think it's that kind of industry, I mean, it's when it's good, it's really, really good. When it's bad, whoo. And I mean, it's not a pursuit for the weak. It is not. You
Yeah.
have to know it's what you want to do. And I mean, yeah, I've wanted to quit a million times, but at the end of the day, I think about it and I'm like, there's nothing I'd rather do than make people laugh. That's, to me, that's the best medicine, literally. It's something, especially with global affairs right now. And maybe that's what's kept me going through all of this, laughter is so needed when things are dark.
Yes.
I mean, it's been the answer every time I've been in my darkest spot. So,
Yeah.
I guess really why I'm in comedy, I want to be able to do that for other people as well,
Yes.
and do
Yes.
what I love and get paid, hopefully. So,
Yes. And you found your own way through your own shows you produce to be able to bring others along with you.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
So I have
ma'am.
a question for you. you mentioned J.R. McNutt and other people you've gone on the road, but who have been some people you want to give a shout out to that have heard you and given you tips?
Oh, heard me and given me tips. Okay, yes. There is a lady I went to high school with. She is a wonderful supporter of mine, Christina Woods Duffy. She owns a law firm here in Lubbock, and she is amazing. Love that woman to death. Don't know why she puts up with me, but I ain't questioning it too much. Let's see. There's also Sage over at Raiders Axe Gallery and Entertainment in Lubbock, Texas. They are also very big supporters. Another musician, Rick Wooldridge, he's a one-man band who he has encouraged me so much, non-monetarily. Well, even monetarily, because he feeds me all the time. Chris Crawford. That man is amazing. He is my comedy buddy. We have done so much together, and I look forward to every single project we do. And of course, the other major booker in this area, Michael Shields. He's also been extremely wonderful to me. Just a good support group, you know. So.
Absolutely. Well, if Michael Shields is, attached to your name, you got to be pretty doggone good on stage and bring something very unique and very funny, because he doesn't fall for anything.
That is very true. That is. Well, and I mean, West Texas, you come up fast. You really, really do, because everything's so far apart, and there aren't a lot of comics in each area that pretty quickly you're asked to do some pretty big amounts of time. Because, I mean, the talent pool, it's not like Dallas where you have 50 comics on it, signing up. You have maybe 3 at an open mic. So yeah, it is definitely, you get funny fast, or, it's doesn't work too well.
Here's a question about your comedy. I don't spy on people. I have to know, like, and trust you to want to go watch your comedy.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm doing the interviews, because if I'm out there and I can't go to your show unless I know you somehow, relate to you, and I like you, and I believe you're believable, then I'll go see you. So now I'm getting to know you, so I'll go listen to your comedy. So if you were to explain to me or anybody watching, what is your comedy style, persona? What is it?
My persona is me, just slightly more badass and confident. That's what I aim for. And I guess really that is my brand. It's brutal honesty about myself, about, but in the nicest way possible, because I'm not a mean comic. I don't roast people. Sometimes you gotta point stuff out though, and like I said, I'm just as bad about myself, but it's like just talking about things that may come from a place of pain, but they cause laughter.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what is it that's the funniest, weirdest thing that's ever happened at a comedy music show, improv show, that you like, the craziest thing in the audience or the silliest thing on stage?
How adult can I be on this?
All the way to the moon and back.
Oh, I love you. Okay, so I thought I was going to get punched on stage at an open mic once. Yes. And it was in Big Spring, Texas. And Big Spring, it's like the entire, just kind of this wild, crazy, area. And I was at open mic, and there was this dude in the back, and I'm sure you've had these dudes like all night. He's drunk. He's just talking crap to everybody. And every comic, every musician that comes up, and finally it's my turn. And usually when I see somebody like that, I'm like, oh, that's my new best friend tonight. And so I got up there, and I tried to engage him at first, tried to diffuse it. He was having none of it. So I just started bowling over him, I mean, I have the mic. And he started walking away, and he said something like, "Later, suckers," or something like that. And for whatever reason, that hit me wrong. And so I was like, "Excuse me, sir, you're leaving right before a bit I think you'll find of specific importance. Now, where's my small dick men at?" And I do. I legitimately have like this 3-minute bit about small dick men. It's actually very complimentary. But when I said that, he turned around and started walking back toward the stage. And my first thought was, "Oh, good, it worked." And then it was like, "Oh, crap, it worked." And fortunately, I did not get punched. He just stood there and acted weird. I mean, like, just he expected me to interact with him from that point. I'm like, "Nah, I got what I wanted done. And I just finished my set, let him sit there stupid. But I'd say that's probably in the top there. But yeah, it was definitely a concern. But I had friends there at the time. I figured if he punched me, it would only be once. But still, it was a little hairy.
The most awkward thing I ever saw an insult comic was doing a show in the showroom. And outside the showroom, nobody knew what was going on in the showroom, of course. So after the show was going to be an open mic led hosted by a very tall, skinny African American man. So the white insult comic is insulting every race, every creed, every color in the audience. They're on board because he's good.
Oh yeah.
But the tall African American host opened the door to come and go back real quietly. And the minute the door opened, the white comedian, an insult comic, goes, he had on a hoodie and a backpack, the African American. So the comedian, who is white, said, "Oh, just what we need," blah, 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 with a white backpack and a hoodie. And I thought the place was going to erupt in a riot. It was that awkward moment, like, oh, it's about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like nobody inside would have minded because they got his persona was harmless, but this guy walked in out of the blue.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that is just, man. Yeah, I mean, I have seen my own fair share of fights break out, but I usually just hop behind the biggest guy that looks friendly. I'm like, "No, not me."
So you're in West Texas, and I think bar fights are kind of commonplace, right?
Not real common, but common enough that you make sure you know where everything is, at all times. There was this one bar, and I was not there for this fight. My friend Chris, it was a place that we regularly performed at in Big Lake called The Shop. It's closed now, which is sad because it was wonderful. But there was a fight, and the bartender or the manager had to come over the bar with a taser. And I'm like, "Man, I miss all the good fights." Yeah, he's got some stories, man. Well, and I mean, I guess we all do. It's just funny wise, I don't have a lot. I have terrifying, not funny.
When you've been at shows and there's been a younger comedian than you in age or skill level, and you had a thought that could help them, have you been the one that goes up and tell them, or do you let them learn on their own time?
I am always for educating and giving notes, whatever, take it as you will if you want it or not. Now, if they seem hesitant after I give them a couple of notes, I won't do it again because I mean I don't want to make them uncomfortable, but I'm always there to help if they want it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I come from Portland is passive aggressive, Portland, Oregon, not Portland, Texas. There's the Portland, Texas. And so you can go on stage and bomb 365 days in a row, and people will tell you, good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to hear it. I don't, I want the truth.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing, in Permian Basin area, that's where Odessa and all of that. There is a lot of brutal honesty there, and I do find that refreshing because I mean, passive aggression is my favorite kind of aggression, Um, but no, I mean, I appreciate the people that I work with that are just like, man, I've seen you do better. I mean, good job. You got a good response, but I've seen you do better. And, or like I have a new joke and they're like, well, we could, really, you could get this last punch a little bit better,
Absolutely.
and yeah. And maybe that's just who I hang out with. I mean, I do try to make a point of hanging out with honest people because I don't need my egos, stroked. I've got a job for that.
That's why I was a mother for my son. And the really good pay and all the multitasking.
Oh, yes.
So are you a mother?
No, ma'am, I am not. I'm a really fun aunt. That's what I am.
Well, I was a mother, but she hasn't spoke since the day I started comedy. So I'm really not I'm more of a mother blanker right now. I'm on the outs. She has me on the I don't want to talk to you now, maybe forever. And so that's why I started comedy that day.
Oh yeah. No, I seriously thought at first that was a joke. I do apologize for that.
Oh no,
But
I have to get to a point where I laugh about it. So I wouldn't be saying if I wasn't healed enough to have you laugh.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm working on jokes just to cope.
Yeah.
If you have any ideas of what I could say as possible punchlines, tell me.
I definitely will. It is amazing though. And I don't think a lot of people understand how therapeutic stand-up comedy is for the people that do it.
And you've been doing it for your own rehabilitation of your own therapy.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about a lot of people, black and white thinkers. Some people think, oh, you have problems, you shouldn't be on stage. That's what therapy is for. And then there's others that go, work it out on stage. Are you kidding? It's free.
Well, I mean, I've had the open mics before where I mismazeled the shit out of it. I mean, I just went up there and I was just like, let me tell you about this asshole I met today. I've done that. I think it's great. I think that screaming into the void on a mic at any given opportunity is great. But that's for open mics. I mean, I think for shows, you definitely need more refined material, but it can come from that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, my brain always works that way. I'll have something bothering me. And eventually I know I'm getting better, I'm feeling better about it because I'm starting to make jokes about it, and it's a therapeutic thing. I think more people should laugh at their problems.
Me too. I've done comedy for the military as me, one military veteran, going in and saying, where are the veterans? I'm going to make them laugh. When do I start? And the thing is that I forgot what I was going to say next. Must have been a lie.
Well, but that's awesome that you do that. And also thank you for your service. I forgot to say earlier. It's
thank you.
That's yes, and that's really cool to me that there are veterans comedy organizations, I mean, like Veterans of Comedy,
yes.
and stuff like that.
I know what I was going to say when I was bragging. You always forget what you're saying when you're bragging. It's like God's telling you, knock it off. So when I get done making the veterans laugh, I say, this stuff wasn't funny till Shakespeare or Rapunzel or Rumpelstiltskin turned it into gold. One of them did. And now you're laughing at what used to be painful. So if you have gone through stuff that's painful that you've buried and you want to come to the back of the room, I'll help you turn it into comedy. And they love it.
That is so cool.
Do
I
it.
love,
You can
yeah, I love,
copy it. Please copy it.
definitely. I am, well, and I work with a lot of charitable organizations. So maybe once, you know, things start opening back up a little more, you know, because I mean, mental illness is definitely a cause of mine, you know, mental health awareness. And, you know, I could see that working at like, you know, any number of places. So yeah, that's a very good idea. Thank you so much.
Oh, I hope you do it, because I can't do it all. You know,
Yeah.
what's with all this? It's my idea, don't steal it. If you're doing it for the right cause, I hope to God every comic steals it and does it.
Well, and right now, especially, I mean, any idea that I come up with that has
Mhm.
some modicum of success right now, I am encouraging people to run with it. I'm sharing information because we're all trying to figure out basically a new media. You know, this is live entertainment in an online format. How does that even work? You know, most of us have never had anything on video up until, you know, last year. If then, you know, there are still people who are hesitant. And I mean, unfortunately, that's going to be the foreseeable future for a little bit, I think.
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah.
right. We just about ran out of time. So before I go, you are such a doll. You're so great to communicate, and I love you. And I'll go what? So you have to tell me, where can people follow you and help your numbers on social media?
Thank you. It's Instagram and Facebook at Jenni. That's Jenni Moore Moore comedy COMEDY. In case you needed that. Also, I have a YouTube channel that I'll be sharing to those entities once I get it to a point where I want the general public to see it. It's kind of ugly right now, so.
Okay.
Uh,
And
uh,
so other places that you want to share, or is that good for now?
That's the ones that I actually have up and running right now. I've got others that I'm working on, but yeah, that's the ones that are fully operational right now. So
Wonderful. So that's Facebook and Instagram, Jenni Moore Comedy, Jenni, and YouTube. That's going to be coming. You'll share things on those other two platforms from YouTube later.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
And,
ma'am.
and what about upcoming shows, Jenni? Do you have any upcoming shows people in West Texas can get out to?
Yes, ma'am. And that actually, thank you for reminding. I tend to forget all the hats I wear. Standout, stand up, and music. That is on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So stand out, stand up, and music. I have 2 shows coming up with that.
Just
Oh,
one second. I want to make sure I get it right. Stand up, stand out, or stand out, stand up,
stand out, stand up.
and music on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
And upcoming shows are
February 6th and March 6th. And those are virtual shows. We are working with local, well, this one is Cat's Playhouse in Lubbock, Texas. All funds that we raise, they're sponsored shows, and we split the proceeds 50-50 with the charity. And so I'm hoping to expand into other playhouses, theaters in West Texas, other nonprofits with space to have us. But that's a virtual show. Now, February 20th, I'm going to be in Amarillo at R&R Bar with Chris Crawford. And I'm also going to be sharing the stage with him March 13th in at Raiders Axe Gallery and Entertainment in Lubbock, Texas. It's a stage with an axe throwing range right next to it. So that's a really fun, like inside the building.
so Raiders X what?
Gallery and Entertainment.
Okay. So I've got February 6th, March 6th, And February 20th, Standout, Stand Up and Music.
No, February 20th is just a comedy show. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
February, yes, that's just a regular regular comedy show. It does have me.
So February 6th, March 6th is the Standout, Stand Up and Music shows.
Yes, ma'am.
Both are virtual.
Yes, ma'am.
February 20th is the regular comedy show, except for you're there. So
Yes.
it's not that regular. In Amarillo with Chris Crawford at the R&R Bar. And March 13th at Raiders X Gallery and Entertainment in Lubbock, Texas with Chris Crawford.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we been putting together just a bunch of little shows together during this time. So
Fabulous. And I don't know how the pandemic affected you financially, but if you could use any donations from anybody that falls in love with you because of this video, do you want to give out a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal?
yes, PayPal. Now this is fun because PayPal doesn't allow you to change your username. I do have one under paypal.me/McNeely Comedy. That's McNeely Comedy. The reason I already told you about this, but I went back to my maiden name for kind of a rebranding over Corona because it's cheaper than divorce. So,
Yes, anything's cheaper than divorce, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Duct tape and a trunk. Why do you think Nancy Grace is so busy? All righty. Well, this has been wonderful. I thank you so much for coming on to Comic Spot. Jenni Moore, you are a force to be reckoned with. I can see that. And I can't wait to go find you on YouTube. If you can send me one video to watch you, I would just love it.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I definitely have those. I'm just not quite ready to promote to the public yet. So I do definitely have some things that'll be in your inbox.
It'll be for my eyes only, I promise.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun.
You're a delight. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, week, life.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.